it. Have fun, fellas.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
So for the video watchers, you're going to be seeing this raw, unedited kind of start. So give me 1 second. I've got to make sure Firstly, for all the video watchers, I need you to make sure to leave a comment in the video. We're doing a split screen today, and this is to ensure that the podcast gets uploaded pretty much straight after we record it. If you don't like the split screen, I can take a bit longer to get the podcast out, which is more like 9:30 every night, because I've got to do an edit, do the split screens and all that sort of stuff. So if you do enjoy this, let us know. If you really don't, I'm happy to wait the extra couple of hours, but let's get into the show.
Let's get stuck into
Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Burbos.
Savage Burbos now.
I am the Savage Burbos. I'm joined by the 2021 champion, Timmy Moody. How are you, Timmy?
Yeah, not too bad. I've got a little bit of a sinus thing going on, so apologies. My voice is probably normally annoying to some people. It's probably going to be a bit more annoying this week.
Did you have a big one on the weekend?
Yeah, I definitely had a big one. Yeah, it was a good time. Good time for by everyone.
Let's start off with it. The SuperCoach watch party, what a success that was. I think Vegas was massive success, but the watch party, I would not go to Vegas to make sure I'm at that event because that was such a good event.
What are you calling it? The watch party?
The watch party, the non-Vegas party.
Oh, okay.
It's like watching the footy, so I assume.
Yeah.
Is it more of a watch party?
I didn't get this new sort of terminology you're using, but that's cool. I'm not up with all the buzzwords. Yeah, it was fantastic. There was so many different, people that I haven't met personally in the SuperCoach community that come up, had got to have a chat to. It was weird because like a lot of them, I'm like, people like Aman, I'm like, have we actually met before or not?
Yeah.
It's sort of weird because you see them and often hear their voice. So very cool. And it was a great turnout. A lot of people there, and well done to Daily Telegraph for putting that together.
Such a good event. I hope they do it every year because realistically, like, we're SuperCoach podcasts. It was so fun for us because we're just in everything. There was a lot of things going around. There was a few promotional videos going around, and I just always had a drink in my hand, which I noticed on all these videos, and two, I didn't stay still. Like, I was in and about. There was Joe Natoff was there with Josh Reynolds. There was Gavin Badger was there. There was plenty of other SuperCoach people, the Whisperer, Insight Fantasy. Like, it was such a good day. And a story from the day, I don't know if you guys have already heard, but the cheer that went off when Tom Trbojevic set up Ben Trbojevic for a try was like nothing I have ever heard of. I've never been in a situation where I'm cheering for a player and everybody else is doing the same thing. It was nuts.
Felt like we were down in the Manly district or something like that at a local pub with everyone going nuts.
That's it. And I think because most of the people in the room had Tom and he set up Ben, it was wild. It was so funny. Great day. I had a massive one.
Fun little story of my own to share, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Just as we were sort of arriving, before everyone sort of got there, I was having a chat to the Elvis impersonator. He was sort of just chewing my ear off. He was very charismatic, had all these stories about different celebrities he's met doing different roles and stuff over the years. And, he was telling us his story, and then it comes over Danny Green, who wanted to get a photo with the Elvis impersonator. So he's like, I'm a massive fan of yours. And I was thinking, does he mean Elvis, or does he mean the impersonator himself?
Bit of CTE going on there.
All sort of I was pretty taken back by what was going on. And the Elvis impersonator was still sort of trying to tell us his story, like halfway between, like, yeah, okay, I'll do a photo with you, all right, Danny Green, yeah, no worries. And then after they did their photo, I was a bit like, can I get a photo with you? And then the Elvis impersonator gave me the weirdest look I'd ever had, like, what the hell? Like, because he didn't recognise Danny Green, he thought I was a complete weird dude just wanting to get a photo with the guy who got a photo with him, and it would just seem like I was like super on the spectrum. But I had to explain that guy's a bigger deal than what you are. Yeah, but yeah,
no,
good times.
Really good event. I could honestly speak about everything that happened that night through a whole podcast, but we don't have time for that because we have a massive.
What's the news?
We have a lot to talk about. Team lists have just dropped and the vibes were high. The vibes are not high right now because I think the cheapies haven't landed our way, and I think a lot of us were kind of expecting it, but we're kind of hoping that at least one or two. It hasn't quite worked that way. Hooker is a bit of an issue. Centre wing, massive issue. So we're here to dissect it today. But firstly, we'll do a quick summary of the weekend. How'd you see the footy and who stood out for you? Who do you think is on your watch list for the next week of trades?
I think all the fullbacks were all awesome. I'd be very happy owning any one of those 4 fullbacks that played on the weekend. I mean, Reece Walsh, had my doubts about him being able to get it done. I thought he needed the extra space to sort of get on the outside, but he was going through the middle. They had plans for him as well. So, the fullbacks are really exciting this year for SuperCoach. I can't, split them at all early. I don't feel I'm overly confident with mine. I'm not that scared of, Latrell was great. But, I think those are the guys that really stood out for me. Who am I sort of, there's no one that I didn't own. Maybe, I feel like Jacob Gagai didn't take up, and I thought I might have to look a bit closer into how long he's going to keep that role. He might be someone that I need to look at. I was a bit off him because he's on the right side, and just with the amount of players to come back with White and then with Loopy, what's his eyes? Thompson, yeah. So, I don't know. He might be one to keep an eye on.
I think, they showed at times last year, Thompson he struggled early on. He had the spot early on. So, I don't know.
He played all right, eh?
He did play all right. He's got good yardage. I think it might be Gagai's spot to lose. And what he did on the weekend was potentially good enough to keep him there a couple more weeks, at least until Tyrone Munro comes back. But on the weekend, I think obviously Terrell May is 64 points off the bench. He 430k. I started with him as my front row forward number 1, and I'm stoked. Payne Haas played 69 minutes, scored 71 points. I paid 320k less and got 7 less points, which is exactly why I got Terrell May into my side.
It was a long wait for him to come onto the field, but once he did,
it was very scary because everyone else was on 26 to 30 at that point. And I looked at the score, he was on 4, and I was like, oh no, I made a mistake. But he looked awesome. And I think what this pretty much backs up to me is don't look into preseason form because they're playing against kids most of the time. Sean Kepi, he's probably still a bit of value, played a few more minutes than he expected. Same with Spencer Linu. You can't expect these players to develop another part of their game so quickly. Sean Kepi is not just going to start popping the ball out every second. Same with Spencer Linu. They moving to another club, we expect them to get more minutes, but realistically, if a lot of these people already have a sample size, then I think you've got to stick with that. So there's people like Nick Kotrick, who is named for the Raiders, that a lot of people are going to be looking at this week. We've already seen a big enough sample size of him to know it's probably not going to be worth the buy.
Yeah, it's never been really super coach relevant. Even when because I've got more doubts around the Raiders as a side and what sort of points they'll be scoring. It's not someone I'm confident with. But I mean, he might. If for some sides, you might just be forced to plug him there and just hope for the best. You don't want to ever really play him unless
just hope he scores a try a couple of weeks. But I think with a lot of these it's always a new year. You can try and see the positive side of people and these players coming in. But I think with Terrell May, it was obvious he's a SuperCoach player. We all know that, but we were just more inclined to get the Sean Kepi options just because it looked like there was more positive and more safety. But with these guys, you don't want to be stuck with them all year, considering we might be stuck with some of these options that we're going with anyway. So I think what the weekend has really told me is eye test is a massive thing. And I think eye test beats all. in my opinion.
Yep.
But on the fullbacks, all of them have gone off. I think Las Vegas, the referees did put the whistle away. I was speaking to Gavin Badger. He's going to come out on a podcast hopefully very soon. He was saying, yeah, it looks like they've been given a directive to put the whistle away. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing leading into this weekend. So maybe our expectations of this week are going to be kind of really high when usually round one is religiously low. That being said, I think all these players have had massive preseasons, and I think this could be different this year, but don't expect it to be.
Yeah, there's a couple of games I reckon it could have a lot of points in them still.
I think so too. But I did get a question earlier on Instagram. Do I loop Latrell's 110? It's probably something early on in the season. Like I remember I looped an 110 from Nico early on, not last season, the season before, because the scores were just so hard to come by. So maybe expecting a 130, 140 this early on is getting a bit too greedy. So
but then keeping in mind, like
AEs are a massive thing, though. Yeah. Especially with the AEs we got now. So
like if I captained someone else and got 85 out of it, I wouldn't be disappointed at all.
For sure. And I think that's got to be your expectation this week. I've got some questions from Instagram from the weekend, and then we'll go on to the Team List Tuesday picks. Kai Dawkins on Instagram is arrow to May, a trade pending Linu. So I don't know if you got Linu or not. Actually, no, this is probably May regarding minutes. I think if you've gone Arrow, you've picked him for a reason. We've got to see what the Rabbitohs bench looks like next week, because I don't know if they're going to go with 4 forwards, just because of the nature of Rabbitohs wanting to go up through the guts as a game plan. I think May is a slam dunk purchase, so I can't go against someone who wants to go to Terrell May, especially from Jai Arrow, who kind of disappointed on the weekend, looked a bit battered up, which was
tackle was a bit rough.
Yeah, it was real funny because a lot of people had Arrow at the SuperCoach watch party, and when it zoomed into him, looked like he had an injury. Everybody was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, trying to get reactions. Who's got him in stone?
Yeah,
I actually just pulled him out of my side just prior to the kickoff. I pulled Brooks out of my side just prior to the kickoff.
Aren't you lucky the app didn't crash?
Well, yeah, I guess I would have liked to have had Brooks now in hindsight.
Yeah.
I think he looked great.
My advice is I don't want to tell you to hold tight. Realistically, if you were unsure about someone and you put them in hoping a bit more from them and what you see on the field isn't what you think you were going to get, I think it's better off doing that trade early and just kind of copying it and copying him doing well after, rather than waiting so long to do the trade and then you miss out on all the points that Terrell May was going to get.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to, you get like one or two things, you're like, oh, I should have went this way. Just swap that around if it makes you feel better going forward, especially if like that's your only way to get May. Like it's the only person you could, like you're not going to be able to do your bottom dollar cheapie, and your other prop that you've got there, you're probably maybe happy with as well. So if you're just feeling about, little vibe on it, I'd do it.
Yeah. Also, another question in similar territory. Dano99 Carmo on Instagram. If a front row forward flops, is going to May still good? So I think it's kind of the same thing. It depends how they flop.
Yeah, you want to give them another week or so, like 2, depending on what those reasons were. For me, with Jai Arrow, like just he looked a bit busted up, and I thought, oh, geez, he looks a bit hard going around. He looks like a real old bloke now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But,
Jai Arrow is a SuperCoach player, though. Like, I think you've got to give Jai Arrow another week. Someone like Spencer Linu, in Spencer Linu's case, looks like he's going to get suspended. I'd be putting 100K away this week and making sure your side's got 100K to go Linu to May, if that's the case. Do it this week because you don't want to be using 2 trades that you don't need to next week to make it happen. So plan for it this week. And I know the cheapies haven't landed our way, but you got to make it happen because you can't have Spencer Linu sitting on your bench for a long time. It's a very awkward one having to use a trade very early, but I think back your gut. And as I said, from the Kepi, Linu, I didn't go them because just a gut feel, I thought Kepi was a bit of a plotter. And I think on the weekend, he can still show more, but it's only one week, right? So
kind of looked a bit leaner, which was positive, I think.
And there are massive wraps on him as well. So All right, let's go over to the team list. Massive team list Tuesday today. Thursday, the 7th of March, the Knights play the Raiders in the first game. And over to the Knights, Dylan Lucas is named on the edge. Kai Pearce-Paul is at number 17. That is the Supercoach news that everyone's been looking for. Tom Jenkins didn't get that wing spot. It was Anari Tuala, so that's a bit of a... I mean, it doesn't really matter in that case because Tom Jenkins was so much. But with Dylan Lucas and Kai Pearce-Paul named... We saw Frizzell went into the middle in the trials. Either of these guys prick your interest?
No, not at the moment. I think they both probably going to, especially Kai Pearce-Paul, when he gets a bit more, minutes and stuff, he'll be someone we'll look at. Dylan Lucas is an awkward price.
Yeah.
If he was having the minutes, I think he was someone I was keen on pre-season too, just especially because he's got the dual flexibility,
yeah,
safety for centre wing. But just with the minutes there, I'd just wait and have a look and see how that all plays out.
And he's at a good price where you can kind of go down from your cheapies or your mid-rangers to do that. So I think with him, Dylan Lucas is an awkward one because I like him at the centre wing region, considering the lack of cheapies. But I think with that rotation, we've got to see how it happens. He's 500K, so it's easy to go. It's not easy to go to him. It's easy to go down from him, so maybe it is worth taking a punt.
The good thing is if you really do like the look of what you see and it does look like he's getting enough minutes and maybe he doesn't come out of his 80 or whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
You've got lots of space to fit him in. If you want to fit him into the forwards, you can like second row or centre wing. There's so many, you can make it happen.
Yeah, that's it. On the other side of the park, the Raiders, we were sweating on the Raiders. Ethan Strange has won the 5'8" spot, so I think he's a lock in anyone's side. Considering how the cheapies have landed, I think he probably needs to go in the centre wing. 5'8" is also not a bad spot to put him.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd put at my second 5'8" because I'm not going with two. I'm not going with Cleary and Nath at this time. So.
Yeah. It really depends on structure. Team dependent. On the wing, Nick Kotrick, we spoke about him before. I'll get his price up right now, but Nick Kotrick, 274. There are some other players around that price who are, 20 to 30K more that I'd be much more keen on.
If he was 220 or 230, I'd probably just, if it was like just the final piece to plug in just because everything else was worked out, I'd do it. But 270, I'd want to save that money and use it elsewhere. And
the awkward thing here is Albert Hopewade is in at centre. Timoko is in at centre. Does Albert Hopewade keep that centre position and Jordan Rapana go straight back onto the wing for Kotrick when Seb Chris comes back?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it seemed like they preferred Rapana at fullback in the back end of last year in the big games. Rapana last year didn't want, pretty much said, I'm too old to be playing a full season of fullback.
That's what I thought, eh?
So maybe he's willing to put his hand up to play a couple of games here, there. I can't see it being a long season play. He didn't think he could do it last year. I don't think he's better off this year. So
I think maybe he thought that someone like Chevy Stewart or Xavier Savage was going to come back and play the rest of the season, but maybe it's obvious now that none of them, or Chevy's just a bit young. Actually, maybe the plan is Chevy's a bit young. They're going to blood him later in the season, so he won't have to play a full season at fullback. So maybe that's the idea. Zach Hosking gets starting back row spot. Obviously, Elliot Whitehead is out, so I think that's someone... Hosking was really serviceable last year. He's 511K, probably a bit much for my liking. I would have preferred him at that price at Penrith.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Outside Nath, when we get in that side, we got to a point where we've kind of were like, is this guy a sell? And it was at around that sort of price. So I'm not overly hopeful that the attack will be more attack there, but he's going to have a lot of runs and he'll have a lot of good base scoring points each game.
And Morgan Smithies, the England international, gets that starting lock position. Corey Horsburgh's out for a bit. Will come back. So there is a bit of risk there, but 345K, it's someone nice to kind of plug in, and I've heard good things about him.
Yep, I'm pretty happy about having him there.
And playing?
I'm not sure. I think I've got him playing this side. Yeah,
I'm happy to play him. Another interesting point. So obviously, we'll get to Parramatta versus the Dogs, but they have named two hookers on the bench. Danny Levi, 238K. he's in my side at the moment, but I'm far from convinced. But at the price, it's kind of like he's been the preferred hooker option all preseason for Ricky Stewart. So maybe there's a bit of value there.
What minutes was he getting? I think it's going to be, if they're going with the two, it's kind of a 40-40 thing for them, isn't it, normally? Or close enough?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Part of
Tom
me
Starling
kind of wants to just pick one of the para guys and just hope that, because he said maybe the 80-minute thing, maybe not round one, but progress towards that.
So Wolford early on last year played 25, 36 minutes. Then he played 57 minutes, 29 minutes, 29, 54, 33, 61, 62, 49. It's kind of all over the place. But the thing I like about Danny Levi is you're expecting it to be a slow burn anyway. And it seems when there is an injury, Tom Starling comes on and they just work it out. Tom Starling can play lock. Morgan Smithies can go up front. And that they might play both of them on the field. Tom Starling could go play centre. Hosking can play centre. I don't know. This is
annoying me. Hey, I don't Levi. I don't know. So I feel like I just want to just put one of the para boys there. Like just put whichever one's cheaper. But then they'll probably pick the one that doesn't end up getting the
100K difference though. Like that's money you can
that's
use.
A massive point. True.
It is
yeah,
100K
Especially
difference.
If I'm not going to be playing him.
The thing is, could it be a Sonny Luke?
That's the thing that's doing my head in.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as bad, like 8-minute rolls and stuff like that.
That's it. At least we know that Danny Levi is going to get 30 minutes at least. And in my opinion, he'll probably get 40. Tom Starling come off the bench and play 40 as well. Moving on to the Warriors-Sharks game. Not much doing here. 4-forward bench for the Sharks, which kills any hopes of wanting to go someone like Royce Hunt, who is at 330,000. But on the other side of the park, Tane Tuapiki, 277K. Charge Nickel Clockstad is apparently out for 3 to 4 weeks, so you could get 2 to 3 price rises out of him. I've currently got him in my side as someone who could potentially start. I love that Warriors side and how they're gelling, and I think he can really benefit from that. And I think it's kind of a perfect time to do someone like him and then downgrade to a cheaper option when it happens. So he can make, 100K and you can downgrade to a bottom dollar cheapie when they come along. Maybe a Raiders.
I feel like if I was trying to fit in that final spot and it was either him or Kotrick, I'd prefer to go with him, even though he's probably only got 4 or 5 weeks there.
Just because he seems much more playable, right?
And fullback's a little bit more exciting. You think that he might just sort of have a nice little line break through the middle, supporting, or just be involved in a try assist or something. So
he played 80 minutes a few times last year. Let me get it.
I'm not overly confident with him.
I actually thought he did a lot better than he did last year. So in his 80-minute performances, he scored 52 against the Tigers, 44 against the Dolphins. They lost that day, so you kind of take it. He played 80 minutes for 37 in round 3 last year. So it's hardly amazing. But the thing is, I think what he's done to keep Roger out of that spot, it just makes me think he's the kind of guy. So I know they don't want to move Roger out of that spot because he's going to play there all year, and I get that. But for them to do that, I think Tane Tuapiki is a guy who Andrew Webster's identified that he buys into the systems, he slots in, and he does exactly what Chance does. So what I can see is I saw him set up some tries last year for Dallin, and he just played that same shape that Chance did for that Warriors side. So if you think the Warriors are going to do well, I think Tane's Tuapiki is going to be a nice little solid option. And the thing is, realistically, after 3-4 weeks, you're not really going to want to trade him anyway. You'll be able to hold him, and then maybe he's got a negative break even. You can downgrade him later when he gets another game. So
something else happens in the back line. Maybe they hold back CNK one more week or something.
Yeah, and that could be realistic. I do like it. There's not much else doing there, but
I think this is one of the games that could be high scoring.
Yeah. Both games against these sides last year was very good. Nico Hines, but Braden Trindle, they in your side. Obviously Nico, but
Nico, not Trindle at this stage. I don't want to have that stress of having to sort it out for the bye by round 5. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I thought that's why I was going close to Luke Brooks and then bailed on that just because I wanted to give myself more flexibility.
Oh, when he scored, you looked at me and you were like, no. But then it got called back.
Yeah, it was his first disallowed try, yeah. So he had a lot of moments where it was that. There was like ones where...
The try assist for Tommy that Tommy dropped.
He looked great.
He was good.
He looked really good. I feel like that's one I think I'm a bit I'll be shitty with. I didn't start with.
Tough draw, but their draw does open up very soon. So the fact he scored 60 against a tough opponent.
He looks like a Manly player, hey?
Oh, he does. He suits it so much. Penrith versus the Storm, 8:05 on Friday. The Storm, we're expecting Kane Bradley to be there at second row, but they've named Joe Chan, who is currently at 238K. What I've done in my side is I moved Jamin Salmon to the centre wing, and Joe Chan is in my side. Sean Bloor is on the extended. My thoughts are that Bellamy doesn't like to blood a guy straight away who hasn't had a full preseason with them. He would have missed out on the army camps and all that sort of stuff. So I think Sean Bloor is going to be a very slow burn for the Melbourne side. Joe Chan, there's been a lot of hype about Joe Chan for a long time. I'm willing to take the punt.
I'm just worried it's only going to be... You'll only get a week or 2 or something.
But why would they do that?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on. I haven't looked into it too cheap. It just sort of just popped up out of nowhere for me, and that's why I'm a bit, what's going on here? But then again, I just don't know what dynamic I've got to play with. I'll have to sit down tonight once we get home after this and sort of try work out my final side for the start of the season. But he might be one I feel like I just have to play because the price.
Over on the other side, obviously Pappenhausen are named. Munster is named as well, but there is talk that he might not make it through. But I guess we'll see how that goes. For Penrith, Taylor May named, obviously. Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. Luke Summerton at 9. Mitch Kenny is suspended for a week, so that's why he's there. Luke Garner is on the edge, and Sorensen is out. Liam Henry gets named at number 16. Lack of cheapies. I mean, look at their bench. Peachy, Smith, Liam Henry, Matt Eisenhuth. There's no Spencer. There's no Sorensen. When Sorensen comes back, I don't know what happens to Sorensen. Maybe Garner goes to the bench, but I would say someone like Eisenhuth or Peachy goes out before Henry, considering they want another big body there.
Yeah, I've got a feeling they're going to give him a bit of games. I just saw like a little, not an interview, but a quote that next to Ivan Cleary's face that said something like, "We've got this guy called Liam Henry. He's a guy who's going to replace Spencer Leniu for us," and a nice little, compliment underneath, which I can't remember what it was. And I was like, okay, I like the look of that. That sounds promising. So I think with that McKaylee not there, I'm just going to go straight to that. Liam Henry for my other backup prop.
I like it, and it kind of reminds me of Lindsay Smith last year, where he'll get a couple more minutes during the bye period, so don't expect him to be a quick burn, but he'll get there for you.
He looks like young and fit and fresh, and a bigger body. He
looks agile.
Yeah.
Parramatta versus the Bulldogs. 2 hookers. I think that's thrown everyone into disarray. We're kind of expecting it after seeing it in the trials, but the cheaper one is named to start. So if you still want to do that, 313K. I'm just going Danny Levi to save that extra 100K, but I think Joey Lussick still isn't a terrible option. I think Brad Arthur in the past has obviously favoured Joey Lussick, and I think the plan would be to at least have them both on the field at the same time at some point, just because of how they're not going to do a 40-40 split. It might be 50-30. So I still think maybe Joey Lussick is an okay option. Brendan Hands at 3 more coming off the bench. I don't like as much, but yeah, it's a bit awkward. I think we definitely need to see how it plays out, but I don't think you can absolutely rely on them to be your backup guy.
It looks like it's going to be another little headache for us this year, that second spot.
Brendan Hands can be the Sonny Luke because he might get 8 minutes. He might just be a guy for cover there to make sure.
I like the look of Brendan Hands, though. I prefer, if I was, I haven't
me too,
really
but
walked him closer, but just on little creative bits, I like him.
I think Lussick wasn't match fit when he came in last year, so hopefully he's had a big preseason. Kelma Tuolangi named on the bench. This is bad for Sean Lane because realistically, where do you see him playing? Probably left edge.
Yeah, just because they did, like, I guess that's just because they did that in the trial too. That's what makes me kind of lean towards that. Cardi's been super like all over the place, getting work done, smashing blokes.
Yep.
He's a really good footy player at the moment, so I'd be trying to keep him on there too. Lane's been out for a bit. It makes sense to ease him back a bit.
It does.
Not ask too much of him.
I'm getting cold feet. I'm considering going to Beau Fermor instead.
Yeah, I think I'm in the position where if I need to downgrade 100K to make something work, I could go to like who's not in my side, the Titans. Palacia. So I could go to him or something like that just to save that. I don't know how much it is. It might be like only 50, 60K, but I think I still prefer Lane just because even if he's playing 50 minutes or something like that, I still feel like he'll have some good attacking moments.
He's got the attacking opportunities, which is good.
And it's not like, even if he doesn't hit the ground running, he's still going to probably score. And
he'll get there.
Not far off what his price is at worst case scenario anyway.
You know what puts me off? I don't want to be stuck in the situation where, especially after Piakura going down with a HIA, it's so easy, and also Wong going down with an injury.
What is his situation?
They're just minor. They should be okay. There's no major injury concern, but I don't want to be stuck with like these guys with the injury clouds, and then I need to train Shaw Lane out because he scored 25 in 50 minutes. Like, I don't want that happening. I don't see it happening, but the fact that there's a chance it could, it just worries me a little. So especially if you've got played Piakura this week, I know round 1 is very short-sighted looking at it from that angle. Like, Piakura should be all right because I think it's an 11-day mandatory stand-down. They don't play till, I think it's like the 12th day or something like that. So with Piakura, he should be right. But it's also like, I don't know, it's just like a mental game, I guess. On the other side of the park, Kikau gets the starting back row spot. Jamin Salmon starts at lock at 317,000 with dual centre wing. Second row, Drew Hutchin gets the halfback position. Karaz is back. Sam Hughes named on the bench. And Powasa Farmasuli at 238K as well starts. So a couple of cheapy prospects here. I wouldn't be deterred by Sam Hughes being named on the bench. I think he's just shown that in the preseason they want him to be there. He's earned that spot. I think he'll come on and make a difference. You saw Terrell May on the weekend just come on, play 53 minutes straight. I don't think that'll happen for Sam Hughes, but I think he'll be someone who we can rely on, especially after a few weeks when injuries start to happen.
He'll get pretty decent minutes. I think he'll get better minutes than Farmasili.
Yeah, for sure.
But big wrong on that.
Yeah, the fact that you see Farmasili is starting, he's 238K, it's very tempting. But realistically, I see him playing 25, 30 minutes, which I expect Sam Hughes to play 30 minutes. But Farmasili is more of a guy. I feel like Sam Hughes can get a better PPM. Just from what I've seen. Yeah,
it'd be good to see how the minute share does work out with that breakup, just with Curran and Moran and Mann and everything as well there too. It's a bit interesting.
Salmon, starting with him?
Yeah, it will be now.
Curran. That obviously puts a dagger through him just because the hype for Curran was he was moving clubs. He was going to start, have a new role, more minutes. Looks like he's going to be in exactly the same role he was last year. Like, he was playing through the middle last year. Wasn't really playing on the edge all the time.
I really can see him being one guy that just has a different role throughout the year. I could see them having him as their starting prop in bigger games or something like that. Having playing through second row when someone's injured. He'll move it around a bit and coming off the bench and starting. But I still think he could be a decent super coach option off the bench. But I'm just not going to go with him to start with.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm being very mindful of breathing into the mic. I've caught myself breathing into the mic. Like
I'm probably
really
doing it real bad because my sinus right. So sorry for Liam Howie, who is really against that.
You know what?
Number one fan
you know
of the
what
show.
sucks? Now I've said it. People are going to be listening for it, so I probably shouldn't have said anything. Drew Hutchison.
Yeah, really keen on him.
Are you starting with him?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Why? I mean, I was keen on him a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know why I'm saying why.
Yeah, I just think that he's super handy. The fact that, centre wing, halfback, I might even have him at halfback if I can't afford to, spend more, closer to 500 like I was going to on Brooks. But, yeah, I mean, centre winger, chuck him down there, could be involved in a few try assists. He's a good footy player. He has runs and... Yeah, I like him.
Because of the Vegas games, there's no 3 p.m. Saturday game this week, and there's only one Sunday game.
So 2 games on Saturday?
2 games Saturday, which I'm pretty happy with. And they kept the Friday 6 p.m. game, which I'm actually very happy about. That's the Warriors versus Sharks game. But moving on to the Titans and the Dragons, this is 7:30 on Saturday. Keanu Keeney gets a fullback spot. I think considering they got the bye in round 2 and he's fullback only, you can't consider it.
Nah.
You can't consider it. Kelly is in the centres. We may be expecting Harley Smith-Shields to come in, but that was a massive long shot. But what sticks out here, Beau Fermor playing left edge, which is good. But Palacia named at 13, Tino and Fodawaker up front. I don't know how many minutes Palacia gets, but I'm still keen.
I think I'm more keen now too, just with the amount of other cheapies that are sort of not available.
That have missed?
Yeah, it just means I might have to move guys that I've had in the second row that are duels or something like that, move a few pieces around. But, yeah, I don't think this is going to be one that we're like, yes, got him, but I don't think we're going to be like, oh, no. I think he'll do a job.
I'm being realistic. Kepi was 380K. Keenan Palacia is 365 with Jewel. 40 minutes is what I'd love for 50. Sam Verrills is named at 14, which I love, which means he takes into a hooker rotation. I know Chris Randall can come through the middle and probably play 13, so maybe Verrills is the first to come on and Palacia is the first to go off, which I'm a bit scared of because I feel like out of Fodawaker, Tino and Palacia is the third guy, but the fact he's been named at lock, I kind of like because Liu was meant to be there and he's not.
I like his name,
Liu. For the Dragons, Kyle Flanagan named at number 6, someone I'm heavily considering at number 6, considering the lack of cheapies. Tom Eisenhuth as a dual second row centre wing gets that starting spot, but with Luciano Leilua suspended for 2 weeks, I probably wouldn't be considering it. Not much else there, but Viliami Fafita at number 16.
Yeah, if you're desperate for either a player by the name of Viliami or a player by the name of Fafita, he's a good price.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know that he's going to get enough minutes, so happy to sit back and watch and, yeah, to see it being another one of those sort of Pele kind of
Yeah, for sure.
players.
Out of all the front row forwards, I see him going very similar to Farmasuli.
He's got the dual for prop and second row, which
Yeah.
is handy. So I can see why he's in some sides. If you do want that dual, the only thing is could be a bit of an AI nightmare.
Yeah. For Sunday, Dolphins versus the Cowboys. Jack Bostock named on the wing, which is, we don't have many cheapie options, so I think you've definitely got to consider him. He's had a big preseason. You made a good comparison to him the other day.
He looks like a turbo. He looks like one of the turbos.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he, like his body shape, he's rangy. I'm excited about him, actually. I know the tries go usually down the other side, but I think he looks pretty handy. I'm excited for him.
You're
With
excited?
some of the guys that haven't presented, he could be good.
I definitely prefer Jamin Salmon over him.
Yeah, I guess it is probably a bit more in the middle, more tackles, more runs, even though he's probably going to be distributing a bit more salmon.
Yeah.
But seems safe. I mean, then again, though, Jack Bostock could get a couple of meat
Yeah,
pies
well,
early
that's it.
and really bump him up. So
That's it. Flegler is named to start with Max Plath on the bench, which means good for Flegler. I think if I want to get someone around the same price as Terrell May, I'd be looking at Flegler, especially just looking at that pack. But for Jeremy Marshall-King potential owners, Max Plath on the bench is a bit of a dagger.
I don't know enough about or anything about this Max Plath guy. So
He comes on and plays hooker. He is 5'8" only for 278K. For a 5'8" only, I don't want him coming off the bench.
yeah, and he's going to probably just play
Hooker.
Okay.
Interesting.
Did Jeremy Marshall-King play mostly 80-minute games?
He did. So I don't know what happens there. Tessie New got that centre spot. Herbie Farmworth is there. I'm very excited for the Dolphins this year. On the other side of the park, Zach Labart, 465K, gets named at centre. He looked good in the trials. Taumalolo is at the front. Lukey at second row. Cotter at lock. Granville, Neem McIntyre, and Finny Fuiaki. But let's just add the extra Feki. Finny Fuiaki, which is bad for Lukey.
Yeah, it is, because he does look like a mad wrecking ball and someone that can come on at a certain time in the game and have a mad impact and just run over the try line. He's so impactful. So, yeah, he definitely does look like he's worth it too, like worth giving him time. It is a bit of annoying, but I'm still keen on Lukey. I'm more keen on Lukey not playing big minutes than I am Lane.
Yep.
And they're at a similar price.
That's it. I agree. I think Lukey he just looks like he's stronger than Lane.
Yeah.
Whereas Lane relies on his tallness to get a lot done. One thing to note, Thomas McKaylee missed, and a lot of people were keen on him. So who would you say? So the front row forwards that are available, there are quite a few 238K cheapies. Where would you rank them from 1 to 4? Personally, I'd probably go Sam Hughes number 1. I like Liam Henry number 2.
Yeah, from now to I'd go Piakura then. Oh no,
Piakura.
sorry, Willison, probably number 3, even though he's not.
Yep.
Around. Because the thing is, if you're not going to put, you want these guys to be making money ideally.
Yep.
But if they're that shit of an option, they're not going to make money anyway. So
Yeah.
if they're not playing half the time, it's probably a little bit more helpful. A guy who can come in and play and be handy for you around the buys and stuff like that. So I still think and from what we've seen, I think he's going to get a go this year.
Willison?
For sure. Yeah, fuck it.
I think if you've got Willison in your side, I'd be structuring it so because a lot of people, if you've got Willison in your side, you're probably playing a cheapie to start with. I'd be structuring it so Willison is on your bench. And if you did start with Willison, you've probably won out here, I reckon. Because realistically, these forwards are going to be slow burns. I think Willison's going to come on and probably make better cash much quicker than half of these blokes that have been named, because none of them are great options. Finny Fuiaki, though.
He's still at an awkward price, though, isn't he? I think he was close to 4 off the.
Was he actually?
I don't know.
I thought he was he's 292.
Wow. Okay. But that's still not enough minutes.
2RF only.
Yeah, not enough minutes.
Are you keen on Jason Taumalolo?
I was really pre-season,
I wasn't.
That's only because I sold myself on an idea that, that his career's this long, he's got, this much left. This needs to be the year that he really does his thing.
Kicks on, yeah.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been, the last couple of years, a bit how are they using him? They're reducing the minutes. I thought they can't just keep reducing the minutes, and having him sort of not being low, have one good mad year out of him and then let him drizzle off the bench the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I was convinced on. I think he can have a good season. More someone that I'd pick up if he starts really passing an eye test for me. But look, I'd be happy enough to go him over, say, Flegler, who I've got there, and I think he's about 50k cheaper. So, yeah, I don't hate him, don't love him.
Yeah, I agree. Any guns? So Karaz was named for the Bulldogs. Is he someone you'd consider? I know just the injury history worries me. He played through injured last year, and you could tell how much it didn't help. The fact that he's been injured in the preseason just makes me think I can't.
I think he's probably not playing through too much injury because I feel like Bronson Xerri could.
Yeah, well, Bronson Cherry's a very suitable replacement.
Why not they just give him a go if he's fit and firing and keen as? Whereas, if Karaz is at all in his head and in doubt, because and he said, I couldn't really do what I wanted to do and, play at the level I wanted to play last year. So maybe he is okay, but yeah, because of that injury doubt, I am a little bit concerned, and I just think I prefer him at wing than centre.
I agree. So I put up on my Instagram story, on the SC Experience Instagram story, just asking for some questions. We've got a bit of time to answer some questions.
Cool.
I guess just before we go on to it, anything regarding your side that is worrying you after the week of footy just gone, or are you looking the way you're looking at your side is any different to how you were seeing it last week?
The second hooker is annoying, but I guess we're all in the same boat there, so I don't really care about that. My second halfbacks, I'm very unsettled on what to do there because I, got cold feet on Brooks last second and bailed on that. I didn't really have a plan. I was just like, I might want to spend more or less, so I'll just leave that available. So I've got to sort that out. I don't mind Ben Hunt. We've had a little bit of a chat about.
We have. So for those who didn't listen to the podcast I did on Saturday, someone asked me a question about Ben Hunt, and I looked into the numbers. Bloody good. He's the main guy. Pretty good draw early on, and he's someone who you could. It's not awkward because you're happy to part with him until you get Cleary. Like you're happy to trade exactly straight to Cleary when you can. You're not going to be having FOMO like a Moses. You're kind of like, oh, he's got a good matchup now. Maybe I'll wait. Whereas Ben Hunt, there's a clear plan there.
What I like is with Flanagan in the side, it allows him just to be a real... Flanagan can organise, stretch around the park, and he can get the big plays going.
The second fiddle.
Get his running game going. And so I was really tossing up between sort of him and Brooksy, and the balance I had was, well... Ben Hunt's the main guy.
Yep.
And he's going to get a lot more ball, I was thinking, but it's in a shitter side.
Yep.
So, is Brooks better, maybe not getting as much ball, but in a better side with guys around him who might nail that try when he puts on that good ball or whatever. So, I don't know. I think both will do pretty well, but from what I saw of Brooks, I'm a bit disappointed I don't have him.
Yeah, I would have been pretty disappointed too.
So that's a bit stressful. So, and then I guess I don't have a gun 700k centre winger like yourself and some other sides are doing. So I'm a little bit nervous about that at this point. In saying that, I don't know what the balance of my structure is. That's why I sort of wanted to bail on 2 players from last week just to give myself more flexibility to play with this week with all this up in the air.
Yeah. All right, over to Instagram. BBR23. Do you think SJ is a good pod over Cleary? I don't think it's a good pod over Cleary, but I think he's not a bad option. Like, I wouldn't be choosing him over Cleary, but obviously, I don't think you're actually saving that much by doing that.
Yeah, so you've got Cleary's there at that 900.
I think he's 912, and I think SJ's 8.
You've got a bunch of blokes like Moses. You've got SJ that are about that 600k. You can save about 100, 200, 150-ish. But yeah, if you could jump down a little bit more, you go to those sort of 500k, 400k guys.
Sean Johnson, 793. So you do save 120k. They got a decent early draw. They play at home against the Dragons first. The Sharks. Then they play the Storm away. Then they play the Raiders. Then the Knights at home. And then they play the Bunnies, Manly, Dragons, Titans, Knights. They got a pretty good run early on. So with him, I'm not as against him as I was in the preseason.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate it, especially when I'm not that confident Cleary's going to be going out there and scoring tons every week where... they could probably match each other.
Yep.
He's kicking goals as well. They're both setting up tries.
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
I don't know how to pronounce
So
it.
if she's keen on him, or if that was, I think that was a she that asked that question.
No.
Sorry, bloke. Sorry, mate.
If you're feeling it, go for it, because obviously the gut feel is the winner from the weekend. Famono, Feo, o Ponga or Drinkwater?
So I'm Ponga. I really like Drinkwater as well. He looked great in the trials. Really excited for him. I just think Ponga with goal kicking as well, just a little bit more comfortable. And a little bit more scared of not owning Ponga. I am also scared of not owning him.
Yes, same. We've got Sam Evis, 07, Kraz, centre. Who do we think is the next best option at the same price? I like the Hammer, but I don't like...
After Karaz at the same price, is it?
I like Hammer, but I don't like his buy. I think Zach Labert for 150k cheaper.
Or Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is, if he hasn't already got him in his side, for sure.
And one more is probably a question for next week, but Jade Devine, is Ezra Mamma sell or a hold?
I wasn't super keen preseason.
I wasn't keen either.
Well, there's nothing's. Oh, so there's nothing's happened to him other than obviously that he was, insulted and racially.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's going to take the field. He probably might even come out there with that sort of attitude of bang, I've been racially insulted, and how Latrell can have a big game after something like that. So I wouldn't be rushing to sell him if you've picked him up, but I'm not that hot on him for SuperCoach.
Yep.
Unless their jaw's a bit easier.
Yep. Yeah, neither am I. I think you bought him for a reason. Just hold on to him because I think...
Him and Walshy are lethal. They've both got that attack. He needs to have a lot of...
Also, don't forget Pikura went off very early and that's his edge. So everything would have gone out of whack after that. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the bold predictions for the week. So last week... Timmy, you got 1 out of 3. Mike, you got 0 out of 3.
You guys were on the can, said you were going to give me 2.
Hold on, we'll debate that. Mike, you got 0 out of 3. I got 2 out of 3. I was looking like 3 out of 3 because Teddy ended up on 78. Thought he would have updated, but he downdated to 70. I did Latrell and Teddy 80 plus. Latrell tick, and I went Terrell May to come off the bench and score 60 plus, which he did. So I was very happy with mine, but I think them predictions aren't going to be as bold if I did the exact same predictions next week. So the fact that I got that out of the way round 1, very good, very safe. Timmy, the one you got, actually, I'll talk about the ones you didn't get. So you obviously didn't get the melee one.
Pretty big melee.
There was a lot of melees. No one got sin-binned over it, though.
There could have been a fight in the hotel room. There was a lot of...
Yeah, there was a lot. So...
Yeah, I didn't call... Okay, yeah, I called a fight, but there was a lot of...
No, because you said melee, and I confirmed. I was like, someone has to get sin-binned for it, and you said yes. So that's where you've gone wrong, but I'm happy to give you half a point.
I'll take half a point.
Is that all right?
Of course, man. I'll take anything I can get there.
Actually, that's probably even worth 1.75.
1.75. So I'm going from
three quarters of a point. So instead
That's weird.
Instead of 1 out of 3, you've got 1.75 out of 3. So
okay,
because there were melees. What was your other one?
The touchdown.
No one tons up.
No one tons up. Kind of close, wasn't it?
Well, Latrell and Manu turned up.
Yeah.
The touchdown one, I want to talk about that because you tipped.
I did say it'd be first try score. I did say it'd be.
Yeah, but we were lenient with you there. So maybe I should give you 1.5 instead of 1 point because we were lenient with you in the first one. So 1.5. Okay. When Jason Saab scored, I was with you at the time, and he went to do it. We got so excited, and then he threw it into the crowd instead.
Yeah, he went. What?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, so what was your thought there?
So my thought was like Garrick had either said to him at training, I'm going to do the spike. I'm going to do the spike. And he thought, I want to do the spike. And then he thought, no, I can't. Yeah, Garrick did it. But he got a bit excited and wanted
but Garrick would have had to, they would have known Garrick was going to score. Yeah,
but you've got to allow that person to have their moment too. Like if I had said to you, I'm going to do that, and then you went out and scored first and did it, I'd have been like, actually, come on, Savs,
That was kind of like us the other week where I told you what stats I was searching and I got the shits because you pulled them up. So, yeah, you're probably right, So,
yeah. But then I also thought it might have been, not that time of the game, don't want to get too confident, but slamming it down or slamming it up is still sort of a bit of a exciting moment. So I thought, just slam it down. That was annoying. But yeah, I still got it with Garrick.
But you still got it. So
Garrick was a weird one. Didn't think it was going to be him that did it.
well, he was kind of on the ground and he stood up and did it very awkwardly. It was funny, but I think we gave you the all clear that if it just happened at any time, you'll get the bold prediction. So that was a good one. Mikey, I think he went Sam Walker 85 plus. Teddy under 70, and he went some other stupid thing anyway. What are you going to go this week? We're going to do 3 this week. We didn't get Jake's in last week, so he's got to do 6 for this week, but we'll get them up.
Jeez.
What are your bold predictions for this week for SuperCoach?
Okay, Ponga. I feel like is 100. That's not really bold. I feel like
it's bold. Round 1, it's fine. You can do that.
Okay, I'll go 111 or more just because I feel like I want to. I don't want to be trying to go against myself. Yeah. Let's try to get some points on the board. I'll take your ton if you're going to give me that. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll go Cleary under a ton.
Yep.
And this one's more...
Under a ton?
Yeah, like, is that not bold?
Oh, I don't know. We'll put that up for vote. If
to not get
it's against Melbourne.
Yeah.
Round 1.
Well, sub 80? 85? 85? Give me 85.
Okay, I'll give you 85.
Okay, sub 85. And then this third one's more wishful thinking, but I think it's hopeful and possible, is Val Holmes and Marju. Neither of them...
That's 4, so you've got to do 1.
Well, neither of them ton up. No, neither of those guys ton up.
Okay.
So they rather than saying just Marju
that's 1 point, yeah.
Yeah, neither of them. Yeah, that's 1 point, not 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's, actually, that's actually pretty
Packaging it in, making it harder for you guys not...
No, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Because if you're like, oh, Val Holmes doesn't turn up, that's not as... Yeah, I get ya. And this early on, like, we don't have a form guide. We don't have a form guide to go off. So I think bold predictions are pretty easy to get at this time of year because we don't know the form guide. Like Val Holmes could come out and bloody just be the worst player in the world after this week. You never know. Probably won't.
Still be all right.
Probably won't happen. I'm going to go. I don't have Kyle Laybutt in my side. I usually like to go players who are in my side, or I like to death ride players who aren't in my side. But Kyle Laybutt is going to score above 70 points. I'm going to go Mitchell Moses above 90. And I'll also go Reece Robson above 80. Is that bold enough?
Yeah, Reece Robson above 80 is very bold. I like those.
You like it?
Yep.
All right, we'll get in Jake's and Mikey's bold predictions so we can keep a tally. We're keeping a tally of that all year because...
Captain chat?
Well, yeah, it was...
Oh, I thought you were wrapping up. Sorry.
No, it wasn't right. That's all right. So we're going to keep a tally of that all year just to make it interesting, make it a bit more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And the loser has to do a podcast. I'm pretty sure it's either a nudie podcast or in a dress or some shit. We'll maybe you guys can vote. So Borat Mankini. Captains. My vice captain was Latrell. With all these bad options, looks like I'll start with Sam Hughes and Liam Henry. Looks like I'll have Danny Levi on my side. I'm not looping.
Yeah.
Nico Hines is my captain.
Yeah, I think that's fine enough play. Like as I said, I think both teams will score at least 20 points in this one.
Yep.
And if one doesn't, it'll be like 16 or 18. So they'll both have enough attacking in them. Good. I think I'm just going to straight captain
Ponga.
Don't really think I'm going to have the loop option trying to play all playable players taking the field. So, and I won't have any Tigers, I don't think. So,
Yep,
going to do that.
Very good. All right. Cheers for tuning in this week, guys. Once again, thank you. The weekend was massive. We got to meet a lot of you. I met a lady named Helen who listens to our show.
She was lovely. She was up on stage
the
singing
karaoke.
songs
Jesus, that was all time. That was really good. Met so many of you. You got a photo with a couple of guys.
Yeah, there were some good people. I can't remember all their names, but yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to this guy. He thinks he's got the most genius hooker plan that there is known to God, which I gave him credit for. I think it's a good idea. He's got Jaden Beryl and Blake Brayley in his side, which I think is if you're going to nuff, I think that's not a terrible way to do it. But I think in round 6, when the Sharks have the bye, you'll come a bit unstuck there. But I like how people are thinking outside the box to get, because it's a year where you kind of need to.
Yep. All good. I love Beryl too. I'd love to see that guy.
How good it'd be. All right. Cheers for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.